Hey everybody, I've got a very interesting role-playing game to show you today. It's called Sword and Backpack Reforged. It's extremely rules light. It only uses a d20. And what I got from this game is, we have all these rules for stuff, and we don't really need all those rules in order to find out exactly what happens, to tell a story, to have adventures, to have characters do heroic things. And this game really kind of embraces that simplicity. I'll have a link down in the description if you want to pick it up. You can pick it up in PDF or in print. The print's going to be on lulu.com. I like the way this cover looks. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't have the name on it. It's got this, it says what it is here. It shows you what it is. It's a sword and a backpack. But this is Sword and Backpack Reforged. This, again, is by James T. Hook, which I've done. I just did a video of one of his games as well, Obsidian Dragon Slayer. And it says it's originally by Rothbard and Gazpuz, inspired by James Spahn, who, of course, we know. And the character sheet's by Mr. Gone, who is quite well known. So when I first started looking at this, I was like, all right, well, the art looks pretty cool. I dig the art. It's got a big writing here. This reminds me of the Black Hack, the way that is there. You're a young explorer just beginning a career of high adventure, of course. And it says it right here. So this is kind of unorthodox for a lot of us now, but it's where it takes rules light and shows you that you really don't need a whole bunch of rules. It says it doesn't have too many rules in the traditional sense. There's no stats, points, levels, or other hallmarks of gaming to keep track of. Now, that may not be for everyone. We kind of like what we like, and some people like some crunch. But if you want something that's easy and quick to play, very simple to explain to someone who might be new to role-playing, this is the perfect game for you. So you need this guidebook, pencils, notebook, or pad of paper. There's some stuff at the back, too, that you could have, and use a pair of 20-sided dice. So someone's going to be the storyteller and the other people are going to be the adventurers. And I dig the art. I think the art's good. This Inked Gas is who did the art. It's going to tell you about being the storyteller. Some of this stuff is fairly mundane and obvious to a lot of us that played role-playing games, but it's going to help someone that's new to it, obviously. Coming up with the adventure, keep your story and adventure a secret, let it unfold as the game unfolds. There's a lot of good information right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your origin. What was the origin of your adventure? Maybe you come from a long line of blacksmiths, or you worked in an herb shop or a family farm. So that's going to be one thing that's about you that you're gonna write down, okay? Maybe you're a midwife or a peddler of various wares, it says. And then you're going to have the adventurers and their jobs. You've got their origins and how their job. The job is, in essence, class. So it says you may pick from one of 3 adventuring jobs: fighter, wizard, or the rogue. It's going to explain about them here, obviously, about the different types. We all know about those. Fighters, what they do. Wizards with magic. Can overcome challenges or defeat monsters with their spells. Rogues are tricksters. Pretty easy. They're going to find traps and stuff like that. They're going to team up to overcome challenges. One thing I like is that it tells you here that the fighter needs to maybe name their weapon, or any of them can kind of name their weapon, which I think is always fun. It says if you choose to play a wizard, you can use swords and bows, but it'll be more difficult. Likewise, a fighter can attempt to use a scroll of fireball, and only a rogue makes picking locks, pockets, and sneaking around look easy. You can do any of it. And what you roll in the d20, obviously, and what you're trying to roll over is going to determine that. And so here we go. We're going to go into what's in your backpack. It's going to tell you, obviously, you've got a couple things that are kind of mundane: torches, ropes, stuff like that. Maybe there's 1 or 2 items you have stuffed in there that hint at who you are and what you value in the world. I like that. Then you're going to get, if you're a wizard, you're going to get 3 spells memorized when the adventure starts. If you find more scrolls, you can add those to your spell book, or you can invent your own spells with the help of the storyteller, or choose from one of the examples later in this book, which of course we'll look at, and they're very interesting because it has verbal and manual requirements, and it is considered good form for the player to say the verbal words and mime the hand movements in character. I think that's smart. I think that's something you could take to other games. And I know I've seen some other games that have some stuff with maybe verbal words. I'm not sure about hand movements, which is interesting. And then here's what it talks about, of course, the fighter's weapons here. It always has a great name. And then the rogue's toolkit. And it's actually the rogue sometimes that has a really neat name, like Jeff the Sly or Riley the Roach. So that's cool. And then how do you play this game? Very, very easily. So you're going to roll a d20. And the storyteller is going to give you a difficulty number, and you have to equal or roll higher than that number. Pretty easy. It just shows you, I mean, a lot of role-playing games could be done with a flip of a coin if you think about it. But here's where the adventures, it says, is if it's tied to their job, really their class, as we know more that word. So you need an 8 or higher on the D20 if it's related to your job. If it's related to your origin, you need a 10 or higher. And if it's something that the adventurer is not skilled at, you need a 15 or higher. And of course, the main sentence here, storytellers may adjust these numbers at their whim based on whatever mitigating factors that they feel are appropriate. That's how you do it. Very easy. But sometimes when you're going to have to fight something, obviously. And that's where you're going to roll a d20, and you declare your attack. And the adventurers always go first, unless something is going to dictate something different, and then the enemies go after. So you're both going to roll a d20. Whoever has the highest result on the die wins, and the winner may deal a hit or create some type of advantage. The storyteller must decide how many hits an enemy can take before it is defeated. So an easy little goblin or something like that will be 1, maybe a big ogre will be 3. So easy enemies are defeated in 1 or 2 hits, and difficult or special enemies may have many more hits. Adventurers get 10 hits before they are defeated, so you have a good bit of cushioning there before you die. And it says here we've got our obvious advantage rule here. So it's important to note that if an adventurer can bring their job to bear during an action in combat, the player is able to roll 2d20 and choose the highest result. But it says the storyteller may have enemies that have special abilities that allow the storyteller to roll 2d20 as well. So that's cool. I like that a lot. I like the fact that, hey, the enemies have got this as well. So watch out. And then we've got our magic spells. So they got their hand, the couple of magic spells they can cast. And here's the examples of them. So Arrow of Light, you're going to have the player actually say Arrow of Light. They need to write this down or memorize it, and then they need to actually do the manual motion. So mimic drawing and fire an arrow at a single target from an imaginary longbow. And then this target suffers a single hit as if they had been struck by an arrow. I think this is cool. I think this is smart. You can come up with a lot of neat things right here. Style makes who I am. Motion putting on a jacket and then run one hand palm inward over your face. You weave an illusionary outfit over your current wardrobe, appearing like anyone you've seen before and wearing whatever you like. The illusion ends if handled roughly. So we've got Enchant Sight, Goblin's Luck, Invisibility. I just think it's neat that it's got like these manual things, and it's something that I'm like, I don't know if I ever really thought about that. Having someone do some sort of hand motions to cast a spell. And they give you some more here. Levitation, Mend the Wound, Light, Weave of Mist, Whispers from Beyond the Grave. Again, with verbal and manual motions there. Again, cool piece of art there. And then it's got the Dungeon Punk Manifesto. So better living through adventure. Be an intrepid adventurer and explore first. A hack and slash tourist second. Experience is better than experience points. I get that. Then we've got the fighters, the drummer, the wizard is the guitar player, the rogue is the bass player, and everybody sings. A good encounter should be like an awesome 7-inch single. A great adventure should be like a secret $5 warehouse show. The best campaigns should be like an epic tour. You or your class. It says class even though it says jobs, but your class is not you. There's no such thing as an inherently evil orc. Some people are going to disagree with that. A sword and a backpack are your best friends. Do it yourself. Dungeon crawl it yourself. Your character sheet and your dice are personal totems. Treat them as such. Adventure and story trump rules. And in fact, when in doubt, screw the rules. Then we've got 3 characters that you can go ahead and start using if you want. They're going to have one for each of the jobs. The fighter, the rogue, and the wizard here with some write-ups for them. But you can see they've got it's in their backpack. He's got no armor or shield. He does have a dagger, a staff, knocker, and I think that's really neat. He doesn't have any spells, so you're going to probably have to pick some for him there. But you can see here, like she's got chainmail, she's got a longbow and a long sword, and you're just going to need that D20 to attack. Here's that character sheet by Mr. Gone. It's fine. Not too, overly done because this is a fairly easy game. But you can see the different hits that you can mark off here and what's going to be in your backpack. And then that's it. The rest of this book is all these kind of pages here for you to fill out whatever you need. Maps, dungeons, write up stuff more about your character, things that happen, kind of like a little journal there. And then that's it. So I was really, really impressed that all you need is really a D20. And I like the fact that it's got the manual motions you do for casting a spell, and this is very easy. That D8, I mean, rolling an 8 with on a D20 if it's tied to your job. Origin's a 10, and if you're not, if you're not skilled at it, it's a 15. And then really just roll off here, hoping that you're going to get maybe something that you can bring to the fight that's going to give you that 2d20 against the monster. So very rules-light game, cool magic spells here, probably very fun to do with children. And really, honestly, coming up with your own spells that have some really neat manual motions to them would be really fun to do. So there it is, a really neat little game. Check it out on lulu.com if you want to pick up this print version or just pick up the PDF. And thanks for watching.